In today's world, entrepreneurship focuses on aspects related to problem solving and mitigation of issues. The approach of start small, think big has become the cornerstone of most businesses. Most young job seekers today, given the economic reality of our time, find that the job they thought would be waiting for them on the completion of their studies simply does not exist. Others have simply found out that they would rather create work they are passionate about rather than join an established company. Whatever the motivation, two young people we talked to in today's program show that starting a business can be done. These two Zimbabwean youths hope that one day they'll follow the footsteps of internationally recognized blue chip companies like Apple and Amazon, whose companies were established in backyard garages but did not remain there. Cedric Ndoro is one of the many young people who looked at the current COVID-19 pandemic and started asking himself, what are the challenges brought by the pandemic that can be innovative in addressing?
We're in the business of making hands-free sanitizer dispensers that are made from 60% recycled material that we collect in the society. We actually put it out at Lusaka Market in Highfields. We had about 1 kilometer long of a queue, people waiting to get into the market. And it was so exciting because we didn't know how it was going to go. And everyone was so excited. They wanted to tap on the pedal and they actually wanted to rush to test it out. And the feedback was great. And we managed to finish the whole queue, which was more or less 1 kilometer long, eh? Definitely we want it all over cities, towns, flea markets, churches, and schools are about to open. We want this drum in every school. We want it in every public space, public sphere, so that everyone has access to sanitizer, because it's not everyone that can afford to purchase their own personal sanitizer.
The heavy-duty sanitizers, when developed for many high-traffic areas such as markets, schools, and the central business districts, is the answer for many who frequent such places but unable to afford the required sanitizers. For Ndoro, this has been an answer to the dual need that normally arises in a pandemic: the need to focus on solving healthcare needs and economic challenges. However, Ndoro admits that it was not easy to get to the point where their first batch of drums could get into the market.
Well, initially, our company was focused on trying to get into renewable energy. And then COVID-19 came through, and we thought, okay, most of the proposals that we had sent out were not getting replied to anytime soon, and there was talk of possible lockdowns. Then it dawned on us, my partner and I, Mr. Norbert Kakuria, that we could actually make something of this lockdown and virus and help society to fight COVID-19. So we were working with one big institution, a university, and we tried to tell them the idea of making some sort of a bin set where you can actually wash your hands for multiple people. And they didn't bite, and it was very painful for us guys. And then we had to look in, and we decided, why don't we make something by ourselves? So Mr. Kakura set out to find our third partner, Effort, and we made the Oasis One, which is a hands-free sanitizer drum that set us back at least about $600 of personal money. That was very difficult to come by, but now we have a product that we can help society with.
This kind of entrepreneurship is one of the most sustainable job generation tools needed in Zimbabwe and the continent. Ndoro says they have learned to concentrate on positive energy and have since seen the results of resilience.
There's a need. And where there's a need, if you provide a service, you're helping society. Ultimately, what we want to do is just help society. So our sanitizer looks to the need that's in Zimbabwe. It looks to the Zimbabwean situation. You know, they say ideas float, and we've seen another video of a similar contraption coming from Uganda, if I'm not mistaken, and that one had solar. But now, if you try to look at that contraption with automatic dispensing of the fluid, you find that it might not work in our setting.
Local solutions will always find a market if they're up to standard, reliable, and affordable. Ndoro has advice and encouragement for other youth who may have business ideas but are afraid to put them into practice.
If you think of the color yellow, you're constantly going to come across yellow each and every day. If you think about problems, you're constantly going to come across problems. As Bolero, we just think about opportunity. So we could have been sitting on our laurels during the lockdown, but we thought, okay, what can we do to help society during this lockdown or this virus, this pandemic? And if you think of solutions, you will find solutions, and solutions can then boost you in terms of growth. You know, this journey has made us grow as individuals mentally. You know, we had days when we were working up until 9 p.m. just making the prototype. You don't know if anyone's going to buy it. You don't know if people are going to agree with it. But we we soldiered on. So we grew mentally. We've got a bit more resilience now, eh?
Stay with us as we'll be featuring another youth creating jobs after the break.
Don't stop, never resist. Them haters and them work process. 1 out of 99 problems. Don't stop, never resist. Them haters and them work process. 1 out of 99 problems.
One of the common denominators for startups in Zimbabwe is the challenge in getting capital to start and grow small businesses. It is even worse for those venturing into business for the first time, as they have to prove themselves beyond doubt before anyone can take a chance on them with financial support. For some people, there comes a moment in life when they realize that they are currently doing is not what they want to do for the rest of their lives. After studying accounts, this 35-year-old decided he had had enough of being an employee and went into what was for him uncharted territory as he sought to join the ranks of those creating jobs. Today, he runs a microfinance company which is targeting those youth and vendors struggling to get capital.
Give the Credit started off as an idea. I was down and out as a brand ambassador for a big company. So whilst I was working on the streets, dealing with customers, trying to sign them up on that platform, on the platform which I was working on that particular time, I discovered that the vendors, once they fell short or they faced financial challenges in a day's period, they didn't have anywhere where they could go and borrow. So I quickly figured there was an opportunity there, started lending them money, but there wasn't any collateral, you see. So I bumped into a lot of challenges and problems till I discovered that everyone owned a cell phone. So in exchange for the loans that they were now able to access, I was now giving them, they were now giving me their cell phones so that I could be able to leverage and to mitigate the risks of people running away with money and so forth. So this started off in 2017 and it graduated. So from phones, we graduated to mobile, to laptops, from laptops to smart TVs, and now we've graduated. We are now holding people's motor vehicles as collateral, and we are offering even larger amounts to those people who are self-employed or are business owners. My background is that of an accounts. You know, I went to CIS and didn't finish it. I enrolled in university, but only did 2 weeks of university because I quickly figured it didn't make any sense. What I was given to study was not what I had applied for. They had given me to study agricultural engineering, yet I wanted to do medicine because my passion is always to be that helping hand to help people. So I quit all that and started studying accounts with the anticipation that I was going to be able to serve organizations and people in business. So it's sort of the same course that I have had before, even when I was a young kid, but it's now in a different area altogether. So if you see, all my organizations are designed, all my companies have been designed to be helping the next person, to serve. That's my purpose. That's what keeps me up at night. That's what drives me. Teaching with Success Elementary, I can do it with my eyes closed, and I can do it all day. I love teaching. I love helping people financially. I love helping people who can't get access to clean water by bottling it and serving them with that clean water, with bare minerals. So it's a full circle, because it's all centered around the purpose of me trying to serve people.
He says over the last 3 years, his business has been growing and he wants to support other youths to be part of this success story.
Since 2017, our growth has been exponential, boss. The growth surprised even myself, the one person who thought about the idea. It took a life of its own. And I guarantee you that in a very short space of time, give us 3 or 4 years from now, we are going to be registered as a microfinance bank. By that, it simply means that we will now be able to take deposits and get other stakeholders involved in trying to push the same cause as ours, in trying to provide finances for those microfinances.
But getting there was an uphill battle.
I hinge most of the success of this organization on mindset. The moment I changed my mind on how I was looking at things seems to have changed like night and day. I was lost in a lot of ways. The way I used to think was to look at circumstances, to look at headlines, to listen to what people say and try to make decisions based upon that. But then I quickly discovered, through reading books, through studying, through following successful mentors, that you don't need to be looking at your circumstances for you to move forward, or to look at or for you to look forward and to do what you're supposed to do. So that simple change in mindset has given me a whole new life altogether. And I attribute that renewed mindset to all the progress that we are enjoying even up to this very day.
It is all in the mind, and a good mindset is half the battle won.
Challenges are not on our organization. The challenge is always trying to figure out a better way of serving our customers. You see, just like when the pandemic hit, our customers were restricted from moving, so we had to come around and sit down and figure out a way where we could go to our customers instead of waiting for our customers to come to us. So the challenge is always to find a better way of serving our customers. Recently we purchased a motor vehicle. It's a small vehicle which is now a mobile bank, so to speak, or a mobile microfinance which represents us. It's a branded vehicle. If someone calls us, they're in need of a loan, it could be a business, it could be an individual, they could be in need of paying an emergency hospital bill, we go there. Instead of inviting them to come to us, we are now going there. And a lot of customers are finding very helpful, and it's really making an impact.
And what's his message to youths out there who are overwhelmed by the state of affairs and are almost in despair?
I'm 35 years old. It took me 30 years to figure out that there was a new life altogether out there. What I discovered, and the most important lesson that I've learned in the past 5 years, is that everything that you need is inside of you. You don't need to be looking outside for someone or something to happen for you to start to do something. All you simply have to do is to believe in yourself and do the exact thing that makes you comfortable. Stop listening to the noise. Stop listening to people. Stop looking at headlines. Switch off that TV on the news channel and focus on the things that you want to do. That way, you are bound to make progress faster than if you go around trying to look for someone's opinion. What do you think I should do? Who do you think I should go see? All that networking jargon to me doesn't make a lot of sense if you're all up to look for people's opinions for you to make a decision on the things that you're supposed to move towards.
It's all about the desire to build, create something, and learn that defines successful startups. But how does one continue to move forward despite numerous challenges? Join us after the break.
Don't stop, never resist. Turn them haters into them work process. 1 out of 99 problems. Don't stop, never resist. Turn them haters into them work process. 1 out of 99 problems.
For most young people, starting their own business means leaving behind job security. But for most, the trade-off is flexibility and the freedom to pursue one's dreams. For Cedric and Gilbert, it is now all about growing their businesses. As the two young men take up the challenge of creating jobs and play their part in growing the economy, their advice to young people who want to go into business for themselves is just start. No one is promising it will be easy, but just start.
Financing is a big issue. People do not generally believe in young people. As a young person approaching someone for funding, for someone to just listen to your idea. Remember, I told you that we approached one of the big institutions, and all we used to get was blue ticks, so to speak, And no one listens to young people, but we do have the ideas, we do have the solutions for our problems.
And how do society get over that problem of not believing in the youth who may have solutions?
The biggest thing that we have done for ourselves was because we used to just go with ideas. With Oasis One, we then took a different approach. We said, let us make a prototype. Once we made the prototype, people could now tangibly see what we were talking about. It was no longer just a utopian idea, a pie in the sky, so to speak. So once people can see that this is what you're talking about, they tend to now give a more listening ear, and it's not everyone who's going to adopt. But the one thing that Mr. Gakura, my partner, always says is persistence, persistence, persistence. And persistence has got us this far, 5 drums and counting.
Gilbert says sometimes doors will be closed in your face. But if you get to a closed door and people inside are ignoring you, just keep knocking. That is what doors are for. The door will eventually open. Gilbert's persistence and perseverance cannot be overemphasized. But what else do youths need for them to be successful? Identify your skills, identify your target market, develop your business plan, tackle the legal side of your business, and obtain startup funding. Seeking divine interventions when the chips are down is good, but that should not be the substitute for laziness.
I'm a very strong believer in a power which is higher than us. There is a power. And that power rests in each and every one of us. The moment you realize that power, which some religious people want to say God, some say Allah, some say Buddha, we all believe in different terminologies, but the greatest thing that gives me joy is everyone recognizes that that power exists. And the moment you do that, the sooner you do that, and you start relying on that power, nothing will stand in your way as an obstacle. Because wherever there is a will, there is a way.
So with that kind of determination, where do we find Gidza Credit in 5 years' time?
5 years from now, Gidza Credit will be a microfinance bank. Right now, we are a village house. We are a small microfinance. We can't get a lot of players in. But in 5 years, we are hoping our brand would have grown and the trust in the market would have grown. It's like that a lot of players can participate in the cause of trying to provide finance to small businesses and to individuals in need of money.
And what about Bolilo Consult and their company on their future plans?
We definitely want to pursue our solar initiative. We want to do renewable energy on a large scale because that is the future. We also have vast interest in AI and robotics. And we believe we've got some solutions that can help our local problems. When we look at certain facets of the local problems that we face, and then we look at some of the solutions that we proffer as Bolero, would love to sit down with people that can assist us to take that further. And then they'll probably see, if we can't get a prototype going, they'll probably see the idea and its worth.
Zimbabwe seeks to become an upper middle class income country by 2030, and it is the contribution of such young entrepreneurs that will provide building blocks for this endeavor. No one is promising it will be easy, but all hands on the deck, it can and will be done. Let's create jobs.
Yeah, I'ma hype it up for my progress. Never gonna stop, never resist. Telling them haters is a damn boring process. 1 out of 99 problem. I'ma hype it up for my progress. Never gonna stop, never resist. Telling them haters is a damn boring process. 1 out of 99 problem. Yeah.
So I don't want it everyone for live long time. I pray that all my demons don't come back knocking for me at the wrong time. On my knees saying, Mama, won't you pray for me? Cause I know that you're the one that's down for me, Mama. You gon' love me long time. I'ma step up onto my grind.
I'ma hype it up for my progress. Never gonna stop, never resist. Telling them